Hey guys, how are you all? Today we're doing another anime series review. Today we're looking at Angel Beats. Prepare your feels. Angel Beats follows a boy named Yuzuru Otonashi who ends up in this sort of high school limbo between life and death, trying to figure out where he came from. He comes to this realm with amnesia and he ends up joining the SSS Battlefront. This Battlefront is targeting an entity called Angel, or Tenshi, and Angel is set on obliterating them. So the Battlefront ends up trying to fight against Angel because they want to be reborn as a person rather than like an ant or a bug or an animal or something like that. There's only 13 episodes to Angel Beats, and that was kind of one of the problems with Angel Beats. It's a really cool concept because it plays with like this idea of purgatory. In this kind of high school purgatory, the members of the Battlefront and all the inhabitants of this high school don't actually know why they're there. And for some reason, they've decided to fight Tenshi. Otonashi as a character, he's not that interesting. But what's interesting is how he interacts with Tenshi and how his interactions bring Tenshi's character to the forefront of the plot. Because at the beginning, she's just kind of like sidetracked and isolated as the antagonist, and nobody really questions that. The Battlefront is led by Yuri, or Yuripe, and she's a really leader, go-getter kind of like character. She's the one that kind of like recruits Otonashi when she first sees him. In this kind of purgatory land, even when you die, you'll come right back to life because, well, let's face it, you're already dead, right? The characters end up going on these like different missions to kind of like foil Tenshi or like battle against Tenshi, and that kind of goes on for 12 to 13 episodes. What the characters don't really know is what being obliterated actually means and what moving on actually entails, and that's pretty much why that realm was kind of constructed for them. There is a slight twist at the end of the plot, and because it's so rushed and it's so fast, you have to go back and rewatch it like 5 times before you actually figure out what's going on, because it is pretty confusing at the end. Because the show is only 13 episodes, the plot pacing is kind of awkward. Initially I thought like Otonashi was gonna go through and like talk with each of the characters and find out their backstories, and I thought the plot was gonna be structured according to character and their backstories. But that's not exactly what happened, and you really only get like a slight glimpse of like each of the characters. The cast is so big that it's kind of hard to remember some of the characters who are not the main characters, and even at the end, like when they die and they actually die for real, you don't really feel like sympathizing with them because you haven't gotten to know them. There were some feels in the anime, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone says like Angel Beats makes you cry a lot, but at the same time, not for all the characters. What they did really well was with the Yui Hinata scene towards the second half of the plot in the show. I feel like they should have mimicked that kind of structure and done that with Otonashi with all the other characters. To be honest, the wrap up with the ending ceremony at the very end felt kind of slow to me, and I feel like they could have done that a bit better in terms of animation. I'm surprised Angel Beats wasn't animated by a production company famous for like really fluffy, sparkly stuff. Stuff like Kyoto Annie or Shaft, I feel like they could have done a really amazing job with Angel Beats. Instead, Angel Beats is done by Sentai Filmworks, and although some of the animation scenes are really pretty, really gorgeous, in general, I did not like the character design. And I feel like they should have been more unique on the get-go, or at least like played around with different colors or paint bucket the hair's different style, because they were pretty hard to tell apart. I think the strongest part of the music in Angel Beats was definitely that opening song, My Soul, Your Beats, and that really grabbed you at the opening of like every episode, and that was really a strong point. Other than that, I'm not feeling really strong tunes from Angel Beats, especially with the closing song that's really slow and just like really crawling, slow paced after the episode. I ended up skipping that a lot. I don't even think I actually sat through that once. The opening is one of the main reasons you would remember Angel Beats after the anime. Overall, considering how Angel Beats was 13 episodes, it was fairly strong. I did not like the pacing, and I feel like the OVAs never really did anything for the anime. I really thought that with all the characters, the show would have gone longer, because in 13 episodes, you're only really getting some of the shallow interactions between the main characters and the supporting characters, and then you're getting like a little bit more depth to the main characters. The last scene with Otonashi and Tenshi was really touching, but it was really rushed, and I feel like because Otonashi had amnesia, the amnesia thing in his character was like sidetracked for all the missions that he participated in at the battlefront. And the problem with that is at the end they kind of like rub to finish everything up, and then you're like, oh, okay, remember, he had amnesia and now he's fixing it and this is how it's ending. He doesn't really figure out what happened to him until the end, and that was really awkward pacing. We're kind of like running to keep track with what other characters were doing, because at that point all the characters are like slowly being obliterated, right? And he's trying to wrap up things here, and Yuri is doing her own thing, and your mind is in 3 places at once because the episode jumps around to different perspectives. But anyways, Angel Beats is definitely for the Key Studios, Key Animation game fans. Stuff like Air, Canon, Clannad, Rewrite. If you've played those games or watched those anime, you have probably already seen Angel Beats. This was my second time watching Angel Beats, and I watched it again because somewhere on the internet some people were talking about it, and then they were talking about all the feels, and I decided to watch it again. So I feel like I maybe nitpicked at some things, but the first time I watched it I did feel a lot of feels, and I remember like tearing up for some of the scenes. Angel Beats might be a pretty good anime to kind of like ease non-anime people into anime. I think it has enough heart and enough action to kind of like keep people attentive to the story, but at the same time it's not deep enough or violent enough that you just feel like your soul's ripped out. So it's like somewhere in the middle of like 2 extremes. My favorite character was either Tenshi or Hinata and Yui as a couple because they were really cute. I feel like Yuri was just an undeveloped character towards the end, and I feel like they could have done her story a bit better, but I think that they should have added a bit more dialogue or a few more extra flashback scenes. So anyways, that is all I had to say about Angel Beats. I decided to do my full series review here because I usually do episode by episode recaps on my blog. If you guys are interested in more from me, don't forget to follow me in the links below, comment and subscribe and like, and I will have a new video out soon. Bye!